like and subscribe right now, or you're going to have bad luck for the rest of the week.
The hardest thing in the world, in our opinion, is saying goodbye to our loved ones, and this does not become any easier if the said loved one is not a human but a beloved pet. Pet owners always treat their pets as family members, and losing them is as hard as losing a human friend, if not more. In this video, we'll be sharing some heart-wrenching goodbye moments between pets and their owners. Number 10. Sereno says goodbye. Animals are more aware of situations than we realize. We have all seen the videos in which pets become sad over the death of their owners, even though we can't explain it to them. For Sereno the horse, this discovery was pretty heartbreaking. Wagner Figuerito de Lima and his dear horse Sereno had a lovely bond between them, but that incredible connection was truly proven when Lima tragically lost his life in an unfortunate road accident in Brazil. His heartbroken friends and family arranged for his funeral procession, but Lima's brother knew that something was missing. In his life, Lima and Sereno were inseparable, and Lima's brother Wando knew that he had to bring Sereno to say goodbye to his dearest friend and owner who gave him such an incredible life. What happened next was incredibly heart-wrenching and moving, as when Lima's coffin arrived at the funeral, Sereno seemed to have realized what had happened without being told. He walked towards the coffin, smelled it, and released one neigh before resting his head against the coffin. Sereno spent the entire journey to the cemetery whimpering and beating the ground with his hooves. He was heartbroken. Number 9. The dog recognizes the perfume of his owner. This video clip shows the moment when a dog was taken to the gravestone of his owner for the very first time. His owner, Gladys Einstein, died around a year ago, and the dog was now living with Gladys' daughter, Burial, but he was said to be tensed and upset for the entire period of being away from his owner. When visiting her mother's grave, Burial took the dog with her. At first, she didn't think about it too much, but then was shocked to see the dog throw himself to the ground as she snuggled up to the grave, crying and whimpering. It was unbelievable and shocking for Burial, as she wondered at how the dog could recognize the grave. Then, Burial and her family realized they regularly used to put Gladys' favorite flowers, doused with her favorite perfume, at her grave. It was this scent that the dog identified as belonging to his long-lost beloved owner. Number 8. Dog says a final goodbye. There's probably nothing more heartbreaking in this world than losing a loved one without even having the last chance to see them alive and breathing to say goodbye. It's a sad thing that a lot of people and even pets, unfortunately, have to go through. But this small boxer dog got a chance to say goodbye to her best friend when owner Ryan Jensen was taken to the hospital and diagnosed with a ventricular brain hemorrhage. Molly the dog had no idea what was going on. Ryan's family, however, was already informed that Ryan would not recover from the devastating condition and had very little time left in this world. Ryan's family knew that it would be unfair to go away without saying goodbye to a friend who had always been there. So, after negotiating with the hospital staff, they brought Molly to the hospital where they all said their goodbyes together, with Molly looking very sad as she desperately sniffs her owner. There's something very heartbreaking about the desperation of her sniffs. If you look closely, it seems as if she's desperate to wake him up. Number 7. Bush and Sully. When former U.S. President George H.W. Bush died in 2018, his funeral was attended by many important people, including presidents, veterans, military personnel, and one old friend that seemed particularly sad at the event, which was none other than his service dog, Sully. During the funeral procession, the yellow Labrador Sully was escorted to the casket in his American flag-themed service vest. Soon, he became the main focus of the event as he was staring sadly towards his beloved owner's coffin. While it is rare that a dog attends a president's funeral, he was photographed at the event as he looked at the coffin with a mournful expression on his face. Clearly, Sully's bond with the president was very strong, and he was more than just a mere pet to him. When President Bush was suffering from Parkinson's disease, Sully was there to help with anything he needed, from opening doors to picking up items and even summoning help if it was required. Sully was a very close friend whose whole existence revolved around helping and looking after his owner, and after the president's death, he was sadly left alone. Number 6. Hawkeye. There is no closer bond than a man and his dog, and this rule doesn't follow the boundaries of life and death and goes far beyond the realm of the living, as even death can't shake that powerful connection. For Navy SEAL's dog Hawkeye, this connection was alive long after his beloved owner died. When Hawkeye's owner, Navy SEAL John Tumilson, tragically died in Iraq, there wasn't any way to know how Tumilson's self-proclaimed son Hawkeye would take the news. But what he did was truly heart-wrenching to witness. At the funeral, Hawkeye lay at the foot of the casket throughout the whole ceremony, a simple gesture that made everybody's heart ache. We don't really know what goes on through the minds of dogs, but at a moment like this one, it's pretty clear that he was very heartbroken due to his loss. He is now living with a new family as John had wanted before he passed away and is leading a happy and cheerful life. Number 5. Dog runs away. Death is undoubtedly a confusing time for pets, and it is made worse by the fact that we can't possibly do anything to help them through this phase. In the case of Caesar, the impact of his owner's death was pure devastation and can be seen as proof of the powerful connection and lovely bond he had with his owner. When Mehmet Ilan was taken to the hospital in great pain, his dog could no longer bring himself to eat, and when his owner died, the news hit Caesar really hard. Throughout the funeral ceremony, Caesar sat devastatingly sad at the foot of the casket, as if working to process his sudden absence. When his owner was buried, Caesar was proud to lead the way of the procession. Ilhan's son, Ali, adopted his father's dog, but was concerned about Caesar's habit of fleeing the house every day. Ali followed Caesar and one day found that he was running towards the gravestone of his original master, Mehmet Ilhan. Even in death, Caesar wanted to be with his best friend. Number 4. A grieving parrot. Oddly enough, the animal most likely to get depressed after the death of its beloved owner is also the one that is most vocal, and yes, we are talking about parrots. For some unknown reason, parrots take death a lot harder than other common pets, with some vets even prescribing bird-safe antidepressants to cope with the mental conditions. An example of such love is this video of an African gray parrot, Sinbad, who is desperate over the fact that his beloved owner of 25 years was laying unwell on her deathbed. Sinbad remains by her side as she whispers "I love you" to her long-term best friend. But Sinbad doesn't make a single sound, as he is clearly devastated by the whole scenario. Many animal experts say that this unusual silence is probably a way of showing empathy and care. Number 3. A dog's last breath. Putting one's beloved dog to a sleep they'd never wake up from is one of the toughest and most heartbreaking decisions one could ever make as a pet owner, and this video is no exception. This is probably one of the most traumatizing moments of this poor woman's life, when after a difficult diagnosis, the vet told her that it is best to put her 4-year-old dog to sleep forever. We can see as the woman says goodbye to her beloved pet and apologizes for such a tragic farewell, and within seconds, the dog peacefully passes away, and the owner breaks down into some of the most heart-wrenching screams of pain and agony you'll ever hear in your life. Number 2. Horse visiting dying veteran. When someone's dying, the most important thing to ensure is their last wishes get fulfilled if possible, and this could be anything from funeral arrangements to inheritance agreements. But for one man, the wish was pure and simple. When Vietnam veteran Roberto Gonzalez discovered that his kidneys were shutting down, he decided what he wanted for himself in his last days. He wanted his 2 horses, Ringo and Sugar, to be with him. He was the only registered disabled horse trainer in all of Texas and was very attached to his horses, through which he made a living. And this sweet farewell was all he wanted. Those who were present at the scene said that when the horses arrived at the hospital, Gonzalez opened his eyes and the horses began to kiss their beloved friend. Isn't it beautiful? Number 1. An Iowa soldier's dog. There aren't many soldiers who would spend thousands of dollars to rescue a dog they met on a tour abroad. But then, Brian Von Fleet isn't any other soldier. He's a man whose life was touched by one of our favorite animals on the planet. When he was posted in Afghanistan, Brian came across a homeless dog and quickly befriended it. From that time on, they both became inseparable, and Brian even spent thousands of dollars to carry Odie the dog from Afghanistan to Iowa, where they began living together. Unfortunately, Odie developed an illness and Brian had to make the difficult decision of ending his friend's suffering. There are no words to describe what Brian must have felt that day. Have you ever had to go through the loss of a pet? If so, let us know in the comments so that we can offer you some support. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more beautiful videos.